What is going down, sourdough squad? We see you guys already in the chat. Oh boy, we got some news, a little bit of news and notes to go over. We got a little bit of Cowboys week coming up. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting week. We did get some reports just now of a player being activated from injured reserve, and that player is, drumroll please, that is Trey Sermon. So if you guys remember, third round pick for the San Francisco 49ers, that guy, yes, Trey Sermon, he is back, sort of. We'll see what capacity in which Trey Sermon does actually come back, but Trey Sermon is back for the San Francisco 49ers. He was activated today off injured reserve. So we're going to find out what that actually means because Trey Sermon, up until this point, had really just been more of a role player on special teams. That's actually how he got hurt in the Vikings game. Is he was blocking on, I believe it was like a punt coverage, and that's how he got hurt. So I imagine what we're going to see from Trey Sermon, if we see much of anything, it is going to be special teams. So I don't anticipate too much from Trey Sermon. Obviously, once Elijah Mitchell returned from his 3-week time off due to injury, we didn't even see Jeff Wilson. Like literally. Like, oh, that's a lie. We saw him. He was out there. They have him run this kind of like hybrid fullback role as a lead blocker in certain instances. But since Elijah Mitchell has returned, it has been all Elijah Mitchell, and I don't see any signs of that changing. So it does feel like going into this playoff scenario, especially having to most likely do a lot of it on the ground for the San Francisco 49ers, it's probably going to be a lot of Elijah Mitchell. Although it is good to know that Trey Sermon will be back in the mix, likely he will be a special teamer. Kickoff return, punt coverage, punt return, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I see there. The Rocky Mountain Razorback says, we ain't scared of the Cowgirls. Dallas, get punked. Hey, that's what I'm hoping for, man. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for the San Francisco, because this is the vibe. I mean, you brought it up, Rocky. Rocky brought it up. So it makes it easy for me. We'll get into that in a second. But this is the vibe, right? This is the vibe this week. Straight up. Like, F Dallas. Like, I know a lot of us, there are some younger fan base, younger guys in the fan base, younger gals in the fan base who, we've heard of the stories. They've heard of the stories of the rivalry in which Dallas 49ers was. We're going to do our part to bring it back up and remind the good folks, 49er fan base, that we don't mess with Dallas. Like, it is what it is. Like, Dallas, no thank you. Like, that's Raiders like level rivalry. I know a lot of people, if you're born in the 2000s, you're born in the mid 90s, might not be something that you grew up with, but don't get it twisted. Just like if you're a Bay Area fan and you've been out here in the Bay, you knew what that Raiders rivalry meant because you talked about it every single week. Back in the day, that's what it was like with Dallas. It was no love at all between those people. Jackie says, my favorite YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys. We appreciate you, Jackie. Thank you so much for being a fantastic member of the Sourdough Squad. We do appreciate every single one of you, as always. But this is the vibe. Right, Jackie? This is the vibe. It's F Dallas all day, every day. Like, we don't like these guys. Like, like I liked some of the players. I like some of the players. Uh, but that's constant across all 32 teams. I'm a big draft guy, so I like a lot of these players before they actually wear a logo. But that logo, that star, what it represents, gross. It's disgusting. America's team, get out of here. Get out of here. We don't want to hear you're America's team. Don't even want to. Okay, so I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. My streaming platform has not allowed me to stream to Twitter for like a week. I don't know what the hell's going on. So that's why you're not getting the Twitter alerts. That's why it's important to subscribe and hit that bell in the corner so you can be alerted when we go live, because I don't know what's going on with my Twitter connection. StreamYard, figure it out. Figure it out. But I'm glad you're here, Justin. Good to see you, my boy. CD. Hey, I'm a big CD Lamb stan, but today, this week, goes out the window. This week, that goes out the window, and that's okay, because I'm rooting for the boys this time around. I'm rooting for the boys. Some other news. We actually just found out right before we hopped on that the Dolphins, not this. Sorry, let me back it up. Right before we got on, we found out that the New York Giants, New York Football Giants, they have fired their head coach, Joe Judge. Interesting timing, but to not fire Joe Judge along with Gettleman's retiring, okay, that's fine. Why it's important, why it might have an impact. The Giants are one of the only teams to request Adam Peters, VP of Player Personnel, and I believe, oh God, I'm gonna butcher his name. Ron Caruth. Gosh, I gotta pull it up. 49ers Director of Player Personnel ran Carthone, so completely destroyed it. But these two guys right here, the reason why it's important, they fired Joe Judge, and so Giants Twitter has gotten a hold of a tweet that I put out about Adam Peters. It was essentially this video right here, posted originally by Matt Mayoko, but I put this out because this is a really cool moment. It's Adam Peters in the white shirt, embracing the guy that he literally drafted. He drafted Ambry Thomas. He was championed Ambry Thomas. The reason why Ambry Thomas is on the 49ers right now is because of Adam Peters. And so obviously with Joe Judge being fired, it really does symbol obviously a new wave. They're going to have a new coach. They're going to have a new GM. This is a guy that they are interviewing. Don't want him to leave. Do not want him to leave. I want this man here. When you think of all the late round picks, when you think about all the guys that the 49ers have hit on, credit this man. Adam Peters obviously ran as well, but he's more on the pro personnel side. So that kind of transition too as well. The Dolphins did request to get an interview of this man right here, Mike McDaniel, for their head coaching job. Could be a situation where we see in the coming days where maybe New York Giants request to interview him as well. And we kind of saw a situation with Robert Saleh when he went to the New York Jets, and kind of, the package deal of coaching that obviously Robert brought with him. But now you have an opportunity to get maybe a 49ers in the front office and on the coaching staff. So we understand the 49ers model is well sought after. Regardless if you think, Kyle should be fired or not, or John Lynch, they are sought after for what they've done, the culture that they've built, and the kind of coaching staff that they've been able to assemble. And there's a ton of success. And if you know football, like a lot of people, I hear it all the time about this guy. Like, oh, this guy doesn't do anything. Like, this is one of the smartest football minds in the world. Like, if you've never had an opportunity to watch this guy talk about football and break down tape, and then of course, then you have no idea what he does. Because obviously fans look at a very high level overview, like, oh, well, Kyle calls the plays. What does this guy do? This guy is in charge of the run game. As you guys know me, I'm big into offensive line. So some of the schemes and some of the things they're doing from a run blocking perspective, this guy. So I got tons of respect for Mike. I don't want Mike to go anywhere. I talk about it all the time. Talk about it all the time. I want to watch film with this man. Like, I want to sit down and I want to be a sponge and just listen to this guy break down football responsibilities, what they're trying to accomplish, what they're actually doing. Because this guy is a big reason why we're seeing the dominance in the run game because of scheme. This guy. So I just want to put the proper respect on this man because I know a lot of people don't really understand what he does. But you see the 49ers run game? Think of this man. Brittany Brown says Rand's name was butchered like Jim Carrey trying to pronounce Swanson in Dumb and Dumber. Facts. Get used to it. Get used to me butchering names left and right. It comes with the territory. Comes with the territory. But that's funny. Absolutely. Swanson, Swarsky, slippery, slappy, swans. Facts. 100%. 100%. When I see a name that just doesn't look right or a word that doesn't look right, my ADHD brain goes into panic mode. They're like, well, what is that word? So it is what it is. Oh, good stuff. Let's see here. So clearly there is going to be some stuff. The one of the things that we want to keep an eye on, though, if we don't want this situation to occur where the 49ers start losing staff, start losing front office people, coaching staff, win. That's it. Win. Because it makes it harder. It makes it harder for these guys to get hired when they're still employed. So kind of what we want to see is we want to see all the jobs fill up so that when it comes time to it and for them to potentially make a move or make a switch, the jobs are filled. So that's what we want. Continue winning, obviously, but by continuing to win, we also will be able to keep our staff together a little bit better than if, like, let's say they were out of it right now. Let's say they're out of it right now. All these guys would be potentially on their way to a new spot. Let me see here. I gotta do something really quick. Push back. So I think that pretty much covers the news for today. Not a ton. We haven't really heard any updates on this man, Trent Williams, but I do want to take a second to talk about this guy, his importance to this team, because, I'll be the first to say, I don't necessarily trust PFF grading system for offensive linemen because I know kind of the ins and outs and how it works and how they go about acquiring said grades. However, in this specific instance in which Trent Williams was the highest graded player ever by PFF. Let me say that again. Highest graded player in the history of pro football's grading system. This guy, Trent Williams. And in this instance, the tape matches. Trent Williams is, you guys know me. I'm quick to call Trent Williams probably the best player in the NFL, regardless of position. Obviously, quarterbacks are propped up, but what Trent Williams has done this year deserves all the credit in the world, deserves all the attention in the world, especially for a position that goes unrecognized. No one cares about offensive line, but this guy's just different. This dude's different, and he deserves all the credit. He earned that grade. Um, I would say it's 100% on point, and he deserves to be the highest graded player in PFF history because that's the type of season that he put together. Trent Williams puts together a season like we've never seen before. I personally never seen before. Obviously, you guys know I'm an offensive lineman at heart, so I have a very special place for evaluating these guys. Very special place in my heart for evaluating offensive line and watching this man demolish grown human beings like on a week in, week out basis, play in, play out basis. Trent Williams is a unicorn. There's no one. There's no one doing this. Again, one of the things that we were able to indicate during our film breakdowns is he developed his own technique. That's how good Trent Williams is. He developed his own technique that literally no one else is using. You go and ask, I went and asked the O-line experts. I said, have you seen this before? They're like, no, that's just Trent being Trent. And like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's Trent being Trent, but there's so much more nuance to it. There's so much more uh to the game that in which Trent Williams is doing because this is a bait. This is a straight up bait and switch. You see him put his foot out. It's like it's at see that first kick step? It's a wide kick step. It's not straight back. He's not getting ground. He's not getting vertical. It's almost like he puts it out there, right? You see the foot and then he kicks it back. This is what we call the double kick step. This was the technique that we had never seen before. We had never seen anyone do this. And so when you see him stick that foot out, he baits 55 into him. You see the swim move, hands go up and around, get on top, bring him down. That's a snatch. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we need this guy, obviously, this week, especially with Micah Parsons coming off the edge. One of the best young defenders that we've seen come into the league in a long time. He's really good. And that's why we need this guy to do stuff like this. And that's Quincy Roche, if you guys are familiar with. He was one of the edge rushers out of Miami. He was a rookie. But, okay, he's a rookie. This guy had 15 sacks on the year. This is Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn, same technique, double kick step with the snatch. This is something that Trent Williams has absolutely revolutionized from the position. This is going to change stuff. This is teach tape. You see the way he snatch, grabs, gets his leverage off balance, and completely demolishes. Robert Quinn, dude, this is a Pro Bowler. Number 94 made the Pro Bowl this year. You guys know him as former Rams defensive end. Obviously, he's over here with Chicago now. But this dude had over like 15 sacks on the year. Look at Trent Williams absolutely manhandle him. And this is all technique. All technique. It's beautiful. Love it. No one like this. No one like this out there right now. Again, we're going to go see a tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, Tyrone Smith, one of the best left tackles to ever play the game. He's not in the same. I mean, it's a little boisterous to say this, but I believe that Trent Williams is just a tier above. They're probably same tier, but just in the way that Trent Williams goes about his business, ain't no one like it. Ain't no one like it. You got to love it. So I just want to give a little shout out to Trent right there because he deserves it. He deserves to be in that position that he wants to be in. But because it is Dallas week, I thought this was interesting. Look at young Kyle, man. Look at young Kyle. Look at the GOAT. This is Kyle Shanahan. As you can see with Dennis Brown helping him with his equipment. This is when his dad, Mike Shanahan, was the 49ers offensive coordinator. So this is Kyle, man. Look at Kyle. So inspirational. From ball boy to head coach. Gotta love it. So one of the things that Kyle talked about this week was just talking about actually living that rivalry. Like 94, talked about when Deion Sanders was added in week 3, all that stuff, man. He says right here, quote, I think that's as cool as it gets. That's the coolest part of my childhood growing up when talking about the 49ers Cowboys rivalry, being a part of that. So I like it. I love that we got a guy that is He's born in this, man. He's born in this. He was born into this rivalry. He's got blood, sweat, and tears locked into this. Um, so I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay. So it's a big week this week. It's a big week this week. Obviously, at the front of our minds is going to be Dallas. I want to shout out Jesse Reed. We have a new writer for the SF Niners. So as you guys know, we have a website. We're on every platform pretty much, as you know. But we have a new writer on the website, Jesse Reed. And this is his debut article with us. He detailed 3 key victories for 3 keys to victory for Wild Card Weekend. Go ahead, check him out, shoot him a follow, and keep an eye out for the website because we are going to have a lot more content going up on the website as well. So as you know, we're here to cover all things San Francisco 49ers. This guy in particularly, just a quick story about my guy, Jesse. I got my start like you guys in the chat. So we didn't have, YouTube like this. We didn't have lives. We didn't do none of that. So on Bleacher Report back in like 2010, your boy, this guy right here, I started this and realizing this was something I wanted to do just by commenting on Bleacher Report articles. And one of the guys that I commented on all the time, like there's a bunch of 49ers writers, but not a lot that I really liked. This guy was one of them. And I find it crazy how it's come full circle. And now how he's going to help contribute to the site as a writer and editor. And he's a great writer. He really is. And he's got a lot of experience doing this. He was also the former editor for Sportsnaut. So really excited to have this guy on board on the team. But one of the things that he was talking about was obviously the 49ers offensive line must cancel this rookie. And he's exactly right. He is exactly right because Micah Parsons might be the most dangerous person on that Dallas defense. So the reason why Micah Parsons is so dangerous is because of his ability to play in space, to play on the line of scrimmage, to play in the box. He can do everything. This guy can do freaking everything. He's the highest graded linebacker in the NFL in his rookie year. He put up better stats in his rookie year than Khalil Mack in his MVP campaign, defensive MVP campaign. So Micah Parsons out of Penn State is someone that we are going to have to know where he is at all times because he can do it all. He can play in the middle of the field at middle linebacker. He can come up to the edge and play and be just like that, one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. He can play in coverage. His speed, his first step quickness, his awareness, his hands, again, hand fighting off the line of scrimmage, hit the spin move, club rips. Like he's different. He's legit. So this is going to be a guy that we're going to have to neutralize, especially with the offensive line. That's why the emergence or the understanding of where Trent Williams is in his recovery is going to be insanely needed. So that's why we need Trent Williams. Big part of this guy. Now, he's not the only one. They got DeMarcus Lawrence, defensive end, solid. He was the guy that I actually really wanted for the 49ers at one point when he was a restricted free agent. They also have guys like Randy Gregory, but they are more suited to come after the pass. So as long as we can neutralize this man in a pass rush situation, then I think we're going to be okay because I believe what it comes down to is the Cowboys are like a top 5 defense against the pass, but they're like I think they're like 18th against the run. And obviously that matches up against the 49ers really well because I think the game plan going into this is run the football. 100% run the ball down their throat. That is the goal. And if the 49ers can accomplish that, they do multiple things, as we know. You control the line of scrimmage, you control the time of possession game, you convert third downs, you keep your defense on the sideline, but you're also keeping the offense on the sideline in Dak Prescott, CD Lamb, Zeke, Pollard, all those guys. No. Keep them on the sideline. Keep them on the sideline. We don't want to see them. Because obviously look at the first half against the Rams game. First half against the Rams game. I think the 49ers ended that or at one point in the half was almost about to end. But I think before that last drive they had, and they had negative yards because the Rams completely dominated time of possession, and the 49ers are just 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. We're doing nothing. So that's the difference here. We got to run the ball. We match up best against running the football against this defense, but still, this man, Micah Parsons, got to know where he is at all times. He is a freak. He is a freak. Got to do it. Got to do it. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. Boom. So another key to victory. So we haven't talked a ton about him yet, but Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Arden Key, DJ Jones, Kevin Givens, Kentavious Street, Samson Ebukam. The 49ers are going to need a lot of work and impact from the defensive line. As you can see here against the Rams came into that game against the 49ers, the highest pass blocking grade in the NFL. Highest. Best pass blocking unit in the NFL, according to PFF. Now, when Nick Bosa and company came to town, when Nick Bosa, Arden Key, Eric Armstead, DJ Jones, and the rest of the defensive line decided to go into SoFi Stadium, they had Stafford under pressure 18 of his 37 dropbacks. That's a 48.6% clip of being pressured. That's essentially every other play. You are being pressured by Nick Bosa, Arden Key, Eric Armstead, all that. Now, I will say this. I think that the Cowboys actually have a better offensive line than what the Rams have. I think the Rams have a good unit. I think, like, overall, the unit of the offensive line, we talk about offensive line all the time, they're a unit. It's not just individual players. It's a unit. It's a team within the team. The unit for the Rams is a good unit, but individually, they're pretty, I would say, average. Whereas we go over to Dallas, and they have, like, 2 elite offensive linemen. Now, the overall unit might not be as strong, but they got some elite dudes on that offensive line. So that is going to be something, and that's going to match up that we're going to be watching quite a bit, is who wins. Is it going to be Nick Bosa and the rest of the defensive line for the 49ers, or is it going to be the Cowboys offensive line running with Zeke and pass blocking for Dak? So we're going to find out. It's going to be one of the biggest matchups we're looking for. Justin says Arden Key earns his second contract Sunday. Arden Key is playing on $1 million deal right now. Arden Key is playing on a 1-year, $1 million deal right now. He has more sacks than like half the star edge defenders in the NFL. Arden Key is playing phenomenally. I hope the 49ers find a way to keep him. I think we look at guys like who was that defensive end that we had for 1 year? And he signed with Seattle. He came from Detroit. I'm blanking on his name. I know someone in the chat's going to have it. I know someone in the chat is going to throw your boy an assist. He was a defensive end last year for the 49ers. He signed with the Seahawks, got a big contract with the Seahawks. Hyder, thank you. Kerry Hyder Jr., thank you very much. Kerry Hyder Jr., shout out my guy, King Tut. He had it first. I appreciate all you guys. Now it's all coming in hot. I'll give the credit to my guy, King Tut, for getting it in there first. Hey, you get it first here in the chat. We're going to pull you up. We're going to give you a shout out. Nice. I see you guys on it though. Kerry Hyder. This is one of the big differences I see between Kerry Hyder and Arden Key. I did not want to re-sign Kerry Hyder. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. I thought Kerry Hyder was a product of whatever system we had. I did not see Kerry Hyder and be like, that is a guy that we have to resign. Did not see that. Arden Key, on the other hand, Arden Key, like Justin says, earns his second contract this Sunday. I want to keep him. I want to keep Arden Key. I think Arden Key has also proven to be a leader on this team. I've seen these players talk obviously quite a bit, and they talk who's one of the funniest guys on the team. A lot of them talk about Arden Key. I think Arden Key is proving to be someone that's well respected on this team, not only on the field from a production standpoint, but in the locker room. And those are the kinds of guys you want to re-sign. Now, I don't think his production is fool's gold. I think it's beautiful. And the way he matches up over guards, let's get Arden Key back. Kerry Hyder, well, that was fine. I had no problems with him leaving. I had no problems with him going to Seattle, to be honest, because kind of how he played this year in Seattle was kind of what I expected. He's just a guy. Kerry Hyder was just a guy who got some sack production for the 49ers, and he got paid, so good for him. But Arden Key, in my opinion, is a guy that I think the 49ers want to keep, find a way to keep, and bring him back. This one. Now, this next key to victory against the Rams, I also agree with. We also talked about it already a little bit. But run the football. Run the football. Do not stop running the football. Just like Jesse Reed talks about in this article that he wrote for us at the sfniners.com. He said, second-year cornerback Trayvon Diggs led the league with 11 interceptions, and Dallas led all teams with 34 turnovers forced. That's a lot to do in the passing game. In the passing game, again, we talked about Micah Parsons, too. What is one of the correlations between interceptions sometimes? Pressure from the defensive line. So, if there's an opportunity for the 49ers to keep and stay away from these long developing routes, drop back type situations, you kind of neutralize the defense. And this is some of the rankings that I was trying to reference earlier. They're right here in front of me. So here you go. From David Lombardi, Cowboys are number 2 in overall defensive DVOA. They're number 2 against the pass, but 16th against the run. Dallas allows 4.5 yards per attempt, which is 23rd in the NFL. That's where we win, right there. Elijah Mitchell is more than capable of averaging 4.5 yards a clip. He's probably going to average in the ballpark of about 5 if the 49ers do put this ball on the ground and they run often and don't let up. And that is going to be a big reason for success for the San Francisco 49ers. Run the football. Absolutely run the football, run it down their throats, and take away one of their greatest strengths, which is their pass defense, which again aligns with one of our kind of, I guess, weaknesses. Like, we're not a drop back passing team. That's just not what it is. We can complete passes, and we can have our guy Jimmy Garoppolo come back and force victories and stuff like that when we really needed it. But there's also an opportunity for the 49ers to just run the football, control the clock, Keep their offense on the sideline, keep that defense out there, keep that defense gassed, winded. We want to see defenders with their hands on their head. We want to see them hunched over, heavy breathing. Like, that's what we want. We want to take it to the Dallas Cowboys, and it's going to match perfectly also with just how I think the 49ers are going to show up. I think the 49ers are going to show up because, as we know what happened at SoFi. We know what happened at SoFi. I mean, 49ers took over this stadium. Like, absolutely took over the stadium. We've heard from the coaches, we've heard from the players, we've heard it all about how 49ers fans flustered the hell out of the Rams and what they were trying to do. And so Dallas is another hot spot for the 49ers. 49ers got a lot of people in that area. And as you guys know, if you are in the Bay Area, if you guys are in the Bay Area, you know a lot of people have picked up and moved from the Bay Area to Texas, specifically, especially the Dallas area, the Austin area. You know us Californians, man. Like, we love it out here in Cali, but it's damn expensive. And so a lot of people have picked up and moved to Dallas. 49ers already have a solid fan base in Dallas. So now there's an opportunity for the 49ers to just completely take over that stadium. Completely take over that stadium. Obviously, we got everyone hyped right off the bat because, as we remember, we talked about it earlier in the week. There was this account with like 150,000 followers said, do not sell playoff tickets to the 49ers. Oh, what did we do with that? We amplified that like a mother. We amplified that like a mother. We let everyone know. I mean, you got Alex Mack talking about right here, Niner gang showing up strong. That's your starting center right there. He knows. He knows. So they all see it. The players, they see all my posts. They see everything that I put out. So trust it's gonna be an event. It is going to be an event. And I'm very excited for it. Because if the 49ers, from a fan base perspective, man, and then fans got to start giving themselves more credit. I try to give fans credit for our voices, our energy, what we do, our reach that we have that a lot of people just don't pay attention to. But if this fan base shows up in Jerry World and completely takes it over and it's nothing but a sea of red, and keep in mind, it's going to be a whiteout. It's going to be a whiteout. So everyone's wearing white, which is going to make the red pop so much more. It's going to make the red pop so much more. So if the 49er fans can just completely paint Jerry World red, and then again, just like what the 49ers did against the Rams, there's the recipe for success is there. The recipe for success against the Rams in a wild card matchup where, hey, this is a 3 seed. So, we're the underdogs here, right? The 49ers are the underdogs. Good. Great. Now, faithful, take over that damn stadium. And I guarantee you it will help push this team towards a victory. They feel that energy, they feed off it, they vibe off it. So 49er fans, show up in Dallas if you can and just take it over. Because if this fan base can do so, we got to make it hard for them. We got to make it hard for them. We want them to not be able to hear. We want them to not be able to communicate. We want them to be suffocated by 49er fans. And that is the goal. And we know football's mental. Football's mental, man. Like, this is a mental game. There's mental battles at hand. And part of that, fan base, ooh wee. If you're gonna be there, you better get loud, man, because you have an opportunity to impact the game. Really do. So, all things considered, I think the 49ers have a great opportunity in front of them. I think the 49ers have a great opportunity in front of them to be able to come out against Dallas, play their type of game. They match up well. They match up very well against the Cowboys in regards to scheme, in regards to personnel. They match up well. Obviously, the 49ers are going into this game probably the healthiest they've been all year. Definitely want to, you know, keep an eye out for what is going to go on with Trent Williams, because that is going to be huge. But hey, Colton McKivitz played pretty damn well against the Rams. So all things considered, again, the personnel that they have decent players. They do. And we're not going to front like their offense isn't good. You know, I like Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott gets a lot of hate because he's on the Cowboys. I was a big Dak Prescott guy. Dak Prescott story? Is it time for a Dak Prescott story? Why not? When Dak Prescott was coming out of Mississippi State, bullish on Dak. Bullish on the 49ers drafting him. Because we knew. That was when Chip Kelly was here. We knew, you know, Colin was here. Blaine Gabbert was here. We knew. Like, those guys weren't the future of our franchise. We knew that. And Thad Lewis, don't forget Thad Lewis. GOAT. If Thad Lewis doesn't tear his ACL, that's a story for another day. Thad Lewis doesn't tear his ACL. He is the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers in this year that I'm speaking of. But guess who I scouted heavily? Dak Prescott. Guess who was wildly underrated going into that draft process? Dak Prescott. And who was someone who needed a quarterback? The 49ers. So here I am, you know, being my draft nerd self that I am, scouting the crap out of Dak Prescott, being like, that dude's a superstar. Like, you can get him too on a value. The 49ers had an opportunity to draft Dak Prescott. They took, God, I'll never forget this, man. I will never forget this. In the 4th round, there he is. The 49ers already took Will Redmond in the 2nd round, ACL. He had torn ACL. Like, it was like just the worst bulky draft of all time. I think Keenan Allen was in this class. Keenan Allen was a draft crush. Keenan Allen was a guy that I was like, you have to draft Keenan Allen. And if you don't draft Keenan Allen, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. Well, we know what happened there. The 49ers didn't draft Keenan Allen. Didn't work out too great. Well, here we are in the 4th round, right? Here we are in the 4th round. And I'm like, this is it. There's Dak. Dak Prescott's on the board. The 49ers already drafted their ACL cornerback prospect, whatever, and the terrible picks that they had before it. But I was like, they can redeem it all. They can redeem it all right here, right now, with Dak Prescott in the 4th round. They took Rashard Robinson, a player who did not play that year in college. Why? Because he was suspended. He got kicked off the team. Not only did he get kicked off the team, but I believe he was also hurt. I believe it was it was the most bulky pick of all time. Rashard Robinson out of LSU, cornerback in the 4th round. 2 picks later, Rashard Robinson, pick, Dak Prescott. I lost my mind. I lost my mind. And as we know, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. That's the point of the story. The point of the story is Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. He is. He gets a lot of hate for being the Cowboys quarterback, but don't forget that dude's a 4th-round pick. Everyone wrote him off. No one thought Dak Prescott. Like, if you go back to the whole draft scene and all that stuff, no one was talking about Dak Prescott. No one. So that's why the hate doesn't align, in my opinion. You're hating a guy who's a 4th-round pick, man, who turned out to be a franchise quarterback. Like, how often do 4th-round picks turn into franchise quarterbacks? Not often at all. So always takes me down memory lane. But damn it. But imagine how different the 49ers landscape looks right now. Right now, if they just do that one move. Completely different. If they took Dak Prescott instead of Rashard Robinson, the entire trajectory of our what we are in now, what the 49ers are, Shanahan, like Garoppolo, Kittle, like all different. Completely different. Talk about butterfly effect. Talk about butterfly effect. If Chip Kelly got his hands on Dak Prescott, damn near Chip Kelly's still coach of the 49ers. Like, it's the most, like, I knew it in real time. I knew in real time. That's why I'm still hyped about it years later. I knew in real time how impactful taking Rashard Robinson over Dak Prescott was. Like, in real time, I was like, oh, that pick, I was like, it changed the entire future of our franchise. And maybe for the better. Because guess what? 49ers fired Chip Kelly. They fired Trent Baalke. Greatest day of my life. Greatest day of my life was when the 49ers fired Trent Baalke. I'm not one who calls for people to get fired. You guys know that. If you guys know that. Like, I didn't say Kyle Shanahan should be fired once this year. Not one time. I didn't come on to this channel. I didn't go onto any of my platforms. I didn't tweet it. I didn't say Kyle Shanahan needs to be fired. Never once. Trent Baalke? Oh, fire Baalke till the death of me. I still relish in Baalke getting fired. Baalke almost made me quit liking football because I'm big into the draft. Obviously. And Trent Baalke made me hate the draft because I knew all these guys that I would scout, all these solid players that I found, Baalke wasn't going to draft any of them. So I hate Baalke. Like, on some real. On some real. I do not like that man. I do not like that man at all. But it's a new day. And now it's Jimmy versus Dak, right? It's Jimmy versus Dak. History books were rewritten that day when the 49ers opted to take Rashard Robinson over Dak Prescott. Okay, that's fine. But now we're going to see it all kind of come to a head. For me, it's a full circle moment. Obviously, for those reasons. Another guy that I really like, of course, CeeDee Lamb is on the other side. So I got some draft sons over there. I got some guys that, I like before they were drafted to the NFL. So it's kind of a cool full circle moment. And again, part of that, and it kind of aligns and ties into the 49ers. This is the 40th anniversary, the week of the 40th anniversary of the catch. Like, it's a lot of weird, like, full circle moments. And if the 49ers go in there and they beat Dak Prescott with Jimmy Garoppolo, like, again, butterfly effect. Crazy to think about how things could be so much different if one pick was made. One pick. That's why I love the draft. That's why I love this. That's why I love the process of football more than, like, I love the season. I do. But I love the offseason. I love the draft. I love the process of football. I'm a nerd. I'm a football nerd when it comes down to it. I am a football nerd in every sense of the word. I like the nerdy stuff. I like the scouting. I like that stuff. Oh, Someone asked me to watch Kyle Hamilton. Are they here? I forget who it was. Someone asked me to watch Kyle Hamilton. Look, amazing. Amazing timing. We did not plan that. We did not plan this at all. I freaking love that, Justin. Dude, I was like, I don't know if he's even in here. I was like, Justin told me to check out Kyle Hamilton like 5 or 6 times. I said I'm gonna write it down on a post-it and I will look at him. Guess what? I watched him. Oh, that boy got some length. No pause. Like his range, his ability. I mean, I like his size, like 6'4", 220. I believe is about where he's at. He's like, I was like, dude, is this Derwin James or like, is this like the new Fred Warner? I was like, who is this guy? Like, so when I watched Kyle Hamilton, one of the things that stood out to me right and jumped right off the tape is his ability to come downhill. His ability to read and react, diagnose, and come downhill, and not only come downhill, but then stick you. Like, I was like, whoa, okay. And I actually saw a guy where I'm like, ooh, I kind of like him in the box. Like, if you were to put him at middle linebacker in today's NFL, like you probably threw on about his frame, you can tell he's going to get bigger. He's going to be able to put on probably about a solid 15 more pounds onto his frame. He could be a middle linebacker. He could be like a Fred Warner type if that's what they chose to put him at. But I also see a scenario where if they keep him at safety and they keep him lean, he's kind of like a Derwin James. Like, and I can tell you this, like Derwin James is a very impactful scouting situation for me because Derwin James changed the way I scouted safeties. Like that guy alone, Derwin James changed how I scout safeties. And when I was watching Kyle Hamilton, this guy's the first guy that I've ever even thought of Derwin James while watching him. Because when I see Kyle Hamilton, I see a guy who can do a lot of different things. I see a guy who can come off the edge. Like I said, he can play in the box. He could play like I see a really strong box player, but you also see the ability for him to play on the deep half and be a safety. I need to see more cover. I need to see more coverage snaps from Kyle Hamilton because I just watched a highlight. I need to see more coverage snaps from him to be able to have like a true baseline of how he is in coverage. But I came away really liking his in the box play. I mean, his downhill speed when he makes a decision and he has such long strides. So when he gets going, holy crap. I was like Kyle Hamilton. I was like, who's this man's? So I mean, good call, Justin. First again, and this isn't a full scouting report. This is first impression. So for me, scouting is a progression. It is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not like I'm going to get my eyes on this guy and I know exactly who he is. I got my first impression on who Kyle Hamilton is, and I really do like it. And again, the base things that I see range, I see length, I see size, I see the ability to come downhill, I see a willing tackler, a very willing tackler, someone who is not afraid to go heads and rip someone up. I see a guy who could be a Derwin James type where they bring him off the edge. If you taught that guy, if you taught Kyle Hamilton how to do pass rush moves, like my mind, like when I watched him, that's why I'm saying Derwin James. Derwin James does everything. And when I looked at him, I was like, ooh. I was like, if I got my hands on him, I'm like, hey, I want you to learn pass rushing skills. I want you to I would use him everywhere. He's that kind of player. But that was a funny ass moment. We said Kyle Hamilton at the same time. Jinx. That was funny. I like that. That's and it got me excited too for the draft, man. It got me really excited to get to scouting these guys. Because that's my favorite thing. Is to scout. The kid Eric says, just wanted to say, LOL, the Rams, all those superstars just get beat on an amazing comeback. And for Stafford, undercover Goff to get picked by the Rook. Yeah, 100%. Hey, we loving it right now. We're loving that the 49ers came out and took care of the Rams. Absolutely. Absolutely loving it. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see. Krumal says, is Kyle Hamilton falling to the second round? It's way too early for me to say. I don't have baseline value. I don't. That it's going to be a lot easier for me to tell value and like, oh, this guy's slated to be here once I just have a better idea of I've watched more prospects. But from a pure measurable standpoint, yeah, I don't see why he couldn't be fringe first round. He has a pretty solid athletic trait and skill set. So I like him a lot. I really do. I really, really do. Oh, wake up, my boy. Wake up. Oh, we got a nodder. We got a nodder. Jason, wake up. Wake up, my boy. Don't fall asleep on me. Wake up. Snoozing over here. Bunch of snoozers. Max says you got to sneak into the NFL side at the Senior Bowl and convince Peters to stay. I might have to. I might have to for sure. I walked past Peters last year, dude. That was crazy. Hey, you knew exactly where I was going with that. We got a nodder. Okay, I got you, my boy. I saw the Z's. I couldn't help myself. I got you, my boy. So yeah. We're obviously going to get more into this as the week progresses. We're going to keep following the news and the notes. Obviously, the biggest thing that we're waiting for to come out from the 49ers is we are waiting for Trent Williams news. And that should come tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a big day for news in that regard. Is Trent Williams practicing? Is he a limited participant? If he is any type of participant in practice, that's good news. That's trending in the right direction. He didn't practice at all last week. So we need a limited participation. That's what we need. We need it. I need it. You need it. 49ers need it. We need Trent Williams. We need the best left tackle in the NFL. We need it. 100%. If you guys do, I'm going to get ready to cut it short, but if you guys do have any, last minute questions or anything that you guys do want to get in, feel free to drop them in the chat really quick. Jeezy says, you think Parsons going to stop Debo in the run game? He cannot do it all himself. And especially if he plays on the edges, we have guys to take care of that. Again, Trent Williams being one of the key factors, but also George Kittle. Don't forget about what he does in the run game as a tight end and playing on the outside. And we run lots of outside zone. And we run these powers and things to the outside. Kittle's a big part of that. Can't discount Tom Compton either. Tom Compton in the run game has been pretty damn good. He's been lights out. He's been the highest graded left. He's been the highest graded tackle in the NFL since week 13. It's unbelievable. But the biggest thing with Parsons, he can't play everywhere. He's either going to have to guard Debo or he's either going to have to be in the run game. So that's the thing to keep in mind. Is he playing lights out, and does he have an opportunity to wreck the game? Of course he does. He's literally that good. But that's where scheme comes in. That's where counters and setting one thing up to look like one thing, and then you counter off of it. Get him out of sorts. Get him just confused. Try to take advantage of a little bit of the kind of rookie mindset and just throw a ton at him that he, it's hard to see. We want to make Parsons play slow. Like, that's the goal. And that's why when we talk about slowing the game down and throwing a bunch at him, we want him to move slower, process more, think more, press more. That's what we want from Parsons. We want to take advantage of that. Simon says, out of curiosity, how do you approach scouting? Where do you get the film from? What traits are you looking for? What is your process in general? I love this question. My approach to scouting is one thing that I'm really big on is I'm big on body language. I'm big on players will tell you how they feel. They will tell you play in, play out, whether they had a good play, bad play. So I'm big on body language. I like the guys who, have positive body language because that's energy. It permeates to other players. But when it comes to film, honestly, YouTube. I've obviously through the years of getting more sources for all 22 tape of college film, but I've had to cut my teeth on YouTube on broadcast, and you can do it. People who lift their chin up or nose up at, you can't scout from broadcast. I mean, it's harder, it's more difficult, but you absolutely can. I can scout. They're playing. So if you can see them with your eyes, you can scout. So where the film comes from, it's honestly wherever you can find it. Like, for example, Kyle Hamilton. I went to Just Bombs Productions, a guy here on YouTube, one of my boys, posts all the draft prospect highlights. And I just watched a highlight tape, and you're able to get a baseline understanding of a skill set, traits, and all those kinds of things. Traits that I'm looking for obviously depends per position, but I look for a lot of versatility and speed. I think first step quickness, especially like offensive line, for example, I need feet. I need quickness. I need agility. If you guys remember last year, Deontay Brown coming out of Alabama, he had the big neck roll, right? And he was trending on Twitter after the national championship game. And everyone's like, oh, this is peak specimen, peak offensive lineman. I'm like, no, I would never draft that guy. I wouldn't. It just doesn't fit my mold of type of player archetype that I'm looking for. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. I was like, yep, he's definitely not someone that I would take. And I don't know. I think he was a late round pick. I think it was a 6th round pick or something like that. But overall, what it comes down to is you have to be able to identify traits. And when we're talking about traits, it obviously depends per position. Like cornerbacks, got to have good hips, got to be fluid, got to have strong situational awareness. Things like that. Offensive linemen, I talked about good feet, strong hands, agility. I'm big proponent of zone schemes. So with offensive line, zone schemes, they need to match that scheme. And so that means they need to be able to move. Quarterbacks, processing, huge on processing. How they see the field. Are they able to identify defenses? Are they able to throw with anticipation? What kind of obviously arm talent that you're looking for? But the biggest things that I look for again with quarterbacks is body language. Again, Sam Darnold, example. Probably one of the best arms in the NFL, but a guy that I called a bust since day one is because he doesn't have it here. He doesn't have it here. So those are the kinds of things that I look for. I mean, you can go down the list per position, but the biggest part is to identify people who have been successful in the NFL and try to understand why they're successful, and then start to look for those specific traits in these upcoming prospects. And then you start to like, that's how you pull player comps and things like that. Is you're like, oh, I've seen those traits before in X player. Like for me, CD Lamb, a guy that I scouted heavily, I saw so many DeAndre Hopkins traits. DeAndre Hopkins, one of my favorite all-time players that I've ever scouted. DeAndre Hopkins, again, like loved him coming out of Clemson. And so when I saw CD Lamb, I'm like, oh, I see a lot of traits that are very similar. So very long-winded answer. As you can see, you can get me going about the draft scouting. I could literally talk about that all day. I could literally go position by position of what I'm looking for. So that's a show for another day. Maybe we'll do like once Senior Bowl comes around and we do all that. I'll start doing a breakdown of like, how we scout, what to look for, because I want you guys to be able to scout too. And then when we get together and we talk about prospects, then we're having legitimate conversations. Jag says, "Greetings, Brad. Love the show. You always make my day." Oh, Jag, appreciate that, my guy. Really do. Damn, I'm hyped. I could talk about the draft and scouting nonstop. Oh my goodness. Let me try to find some questions. I asked you to do questions, but I've been stuck on that one. 49er fans take over Dallas? I think so. I think 49er fans are going to absolutely take over. 100%. I didn't see this. I've not seen any of this about K'Wan Williams getting into a fit. That just doesn't feel like KK, man. That just doesn't feel like him at all. I haven't heard about that. But I don't think that was what happened. Interesting, though. Justin says there will be a Kyle Hamilton hive. Appreciate the analysis, Brad. I appreciate you, Justin, man. Thank you for telling me to go look him up. Thank you for for me to go tell him look him up. I can't even talk, man. You know what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Trying to catch up. Appreciate you, Lamar. I do. I really do. Thank you for the comments. Dak 13 TO. Dak is 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions last 4 games. What's Jimmy's last 4 games? Oof. His last 4 games were Rams, Titans, Falcons, Bengals. Did he have a pick against the Bengals? I think he had 1 pick against the Bengals. No picks against Falcons. 2 picks against the Titans. 2 picks against the Rams. I don't know. It's definitely not as good as Dak's. It's definitely not as good as Dak's. Yep, this is and that doesn't matter because this is the point. Just like Cap's talking about, it's going to be about ball control and running the football for the 49ers. I really think that's what it comes down to. Dallas fans bragging about last year when the SF was missing 11 starters and 4 more backups. Yeah, dude, that game was I forgot about that game. I think I just erased it from my memory. But yeah, no, that game is not comparable. 49ers were down bad that game. Let's see. Can I show McVay dancing again really quick? If you're talking about the cheerleader video, I don't have that. I didn't show him dancing. But if you're talking about the cheerleader video, I'm not showing that either. I know what you're talking about. I don't have it. Let's see. Okay, looks like we're pretty close to catching up. Oh yeah, no problem, man. Oh, the Sourdough Scouts. Ooh, the Sourdough Scouts. That's kind of fire. Hey, hey, yo. Hold on. Hold on. What's this? No, that's not it. Sorry. I'm looking at updates really quick. Make sure I didn't miss something. Hold on one sec. I don't think I missed anything. Sorry. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. See, Cap, when you say something like this, you forced me to go hunt and make sure I didn't miss nothing. I don't know. I don't see nothing. But where did that go? Sourdough Scouts? I freaking love that. SDS Scouting Squad? Whew. Sourdough Scouts? That's kind of fire. Oh yeah, we talked about that already. I think we led with that. So let's see. Let's go, kid. We see you out there holding it down for the Twitch crew. You might be the only one in there. All right. I'm catching up. My apologies. The kid Eric says, how many run plays do you think Kyle is going to want implemented versus the Cowgirls, and how many rush yards will we have in total? What do you think Kyle is going to want implemented? How many run plays? So in regards to like total count and like, I'm sure their whole run game is going to be available to them, but stylistically, I think mid zone. I think kind of inside mid zone might actually be, especially if you got Parsons on the edge. I like Leighton Vander Esch as well, but if you got Parsons on the edge and Parsons is running edge contain, I like a lot of actually inside runs. Because I do agree. You kind of want to stay away from that guy. You kind of want to run. If they're going to do something, kind of counter off what they're trying to stop. So if they're trying to stop outside runs and Parsons is the edge container, then okay, take advantage of him trying to set the edge. And how do you do that? You counter at him. You pull tackles at him. You pull guards. You pull fullbacks. You pull Jeff Wilson and Kittle, whoever. You kick them out, and then you run right inside. And so then if they start creeping inside, okay, then you run up, you get them to bite and bait and give up contain on the edge, then you hit it to the outside. I think the biggest thing is with the kind of interior of their defense, I think there's a good opportunity for you to attack the middle of their defense, specifically if Parsons is on the edge. If he's playing middle linebacker, okay, well, then maybe we go back to a little bit more outside zone. But I think it's all kind of going to depend on the looks we get. And so running mid zone actually does kind of feel like something we could see a little bit more. This team is typically an outside zone team, but they run a lot of mid zones and stuff like that. So I think that could be a potential. How many rush yards will we have in total? If we want it to be a successful day on the ground, like I'm talking 150 yards, like and Elijah Mitchell getting like a $130 by himself. That's the kind of pretty similar to what we saw at the Rams game. It's kind of what I want to see. Let's go. Jesse Wade's about to sourdough scouts. Let's go. Many squirrels on this episode. Very, very many squirrels. Lots of squirrels. Let's see. SDS is a really versatile acronym. It is, man. It is. I love it. I really do. Holding it down, baby. My boy. We see you, man. I see you. Hey, when Twitch blows up, we're gonna remember you, my guy. We're gonna remember you. The word on Aziz is him and Trent could be available. We'll find out. We will find out. But for reference, he did not participate at all last week, but he did end up on the questionable. He did end up questionable on the injury report at the end of last week. So, again, another guy we're going to be looking for limited participant. Limited. So, this is a good point. Quinn, who's their defensive coordinator, who actually has their defense playing really well. Underrated kind of situation is, if you guys remember, Quinn was the head coach for Atlanta when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. And then when Kyle left to come to the 49ers, they still ran Kyle's offense under Quinn in Atlanta. So we haven't talked about this dynamic at all yet, and it's actually a good point to bring that up. These two staffs, they know each other. Oh, yeah. Oh, they know each other. So, like how we look at the Rams, McVay versus Shanahan. Hey, Quinn, he knows Kyle. He knows Kyle very well. So that is going to be something to see. It's going to be it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a duel of scheme. It's going to be a matchup of personnel. It's going to be a matchup of execution. Who executes better? Honestly, I think what a lot of it comes down to is who executes the best. Sounds cliche, but understanding the scheme diversity from both sides, understanding the familiarity that's already there that exists, and understanding the talent on both sides, what you're looking for is who can just go out and execute the game plan better. And I know it's again, it sounds cliche, but one of the huge things that we talked about this entire year was just execution. How do they execute? They had a really hard time executing with those losses, earlier in the year. So who's going to execute the best? We're going to find out. I like this answer. Dan Quinn not ready for what Kyle's cooking. I hope not. I saw someone, or Michael Irvin. No, I saw something else, I think from some other 40. Is it Keyshawn? Is it Keyshawn Johnson? I don't know. We're going to look. I'll bring all the bulletin board material in and all that good stuff. But I think that's going to be it for today. I appreciate you guys. As always, we're going to have Jason Aponte on tomorrow, Wednesday, 1:30 for our State of the Franchise episode. Obviously, going to be one that you want to tune in for, because we should have practice will have taken place by that time. We should have an idea if Aziz and Trent Williams are participating or not. So we'll be able to get some updates in that realm. But as you know, state of the franchise with a Ponte is always spicy. So we're going to have a lot of big playoff energy, tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that live. All that good stuff. If you're new here, smash that sub, hit that like, join, and that's it. That's how you join the Sourdough Squad. I'm gonna say it. I don't care. I'm biased, but best group on YouTube. Best group on YouTube. It's not even a question. Not even a question. So, state of special teams with Jason. I can't wait to get Jason's takes on the whole punter situation, on Robbie Gould being the punter and the kicker. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is going to be a lot of fun. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. And again, as always, appreciate all the support that you guys constantly show me. It really does mean a lot. So I will see you guys on the other side. You guys have a great